Today we'll look at some key moments and best tactics from the ongoing US Championship for both the Open and the Women's. Whenever there's an interesting ongoing tournament, I try to collect some of the best moments and give them to you as tactics so that you
Excellent.
and the viewers can all solve it.
Love it. All right, let's dive right into it. So we are white and we will win with a beautiful
Yes,
tactic.
that's what it is. It's one of the nicest attacks, I would say, that I've seen in this championship so far. It's between Ray Robson and Jeffrey Shong. So try to solve it as white. Think about some tactics that you would take a look at here.
I immediately have an idea, and you at home hopefully too. Also, just take a look at the ChessBase News article because, of course, Svitlana has those tactics there, so you can replay them, you can use the engine, you can look at the whole game too because it's nice, maybe, right? But again, let's see. So I just throw it in there. The rook has to take on f7.
Yes, that's what happened in the
Really?
game.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it looks so tempting. So let me try to continue because this is just the first move, I think. Okay, so let's pretend the king will take. I mean, there's not
They
many
have to
other
take.
options. Yeah. So now we take the other rook, go to f1, give another check.
Perfect.
And the thing, this is the only thing why I saw that the king cannot protect the g pawn. And that might make the win happen because there cannot be anything in between. So the king has to move to the e-file, I guess. Otherwise, it's
Right.
checkmate immediately.
Exactly. They can't really cover because we're just going to take it. So the king goes to e7 instead.
Yeah, so now it's not over because, well, it looks over. I mean, what can we just make a more quiet move now and just go to take on g6 maybe?
That's what happened in the game. And you're saying as if it's like game over completely, but there was actually one saving move that just makes the position equal, and it's not really and it wouldn't be winning if black had found it. So there is one saving move. I don't know if it's difficult, but of course it's always very difficult to defend, but you can try to find it. You can try to guess it.
So here's kind of now it's the reverse tactics. Find the saving move. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, it looks too obvious, but bishop e6
And that's what happened in the game, and it wasn't the saving move.
No.
So that one ended up losing the game. But I agree that bishop e6 is the most natural one because you just want to get like the last pieces out, and somehow it helps protect the f7 square. So it's a totally logical move.
Yeah.
So do you want to know the actual saving move?
Yes, please.
It's king to d7.
The king.
It looks really unnatural to like block the bishop, block the queen, block everything. Well, it just has the idea to defend against the rook f7 threat or the queen f7, whatever what was coming up.
Yeah.
So now if this happens, then you can protect with the rook, and that's kind of the whole idea of the king there. And if anything happens, then our pieces can just come back, and something like this would be equal because white's attack wouldn't really lead to mate, but they would be down, I think, in exchange if black gets out of this successfully. But even this, of course, would still be a lot left to play. And in any of the other checks, then this king can actually run to the c file, which is the whole idea of this king maneuver, so that later it could just try to hide there.
I often see those king escapes, and it's often enough it is quite it's a good resource, let's say it like that, because and then you make those weird moves just by moving the king completely away from every attack, getting to a secure spot, and then every attack has faded. All right, okay, that was a good start. I feel confident.
No, it actually was a good start because you got the first couple of moves down perfectly, and you actually guessed the move that happened in the game, which is bishop e6. So now there's a final like sequence, of course, that wins it. I already said that it's that white is winning after this move. So you can try to find this one. I think it was a really nice portion of the game. So try to find the rest of it. So far, you found all of this until now.
Okay, let's see if I can find the rest too. I mean, I'm just talking out loud. I'm not sure if we will yet make the move, but isn't rook e1 just a really tremendous threat already? What can you do about it? The queen can go to d7 and protect.
King d7 maybe too.
Yeah.
Like the escape.
Yeah, true. King d7 is escaping. Well, if the queen... Oh, that is it, isn't it? If the queen goes to g7 and then the bishop to e5, huh?
That's a good start, yes. So this is good. Bishop e5. King to c5. We're still following the actual game.
How funny. Okay.
And probably now is the part that decides the game.
Okay, what about bishop c7 now?
See, you're really good at attacking and taking away the key squares because this is the right move. So bishop to c7, it's a very good move that first of all attacks the queen, but at the same time it does something really important.
That's the beauty thing,
right?
Yeah.
Takes away these key squares and threatens the checkmate here on c3. There was still a bit of work left to do, so it wasn't completely done, but I will show how the game ended. But after bishop c7, you're right, it was the end of the game for from a objective
Robson
perspective.
Just won in this case then.
No, they still went on with bishop here.
Yeah, exactly. This is the move which also scared me a little. So can we not just take back with the rook?
Yeah. They take back with the rook. The rook went to g8, so it was still like a resourceful defense because there's still things to defend for white, and if they don't prove that the attack is working, then they might just be down an exchange at the end of this. And there was another nice move that followed up, and I'll just show it because it's better to see it than to try to guess it. It's knight to e4.
Yeah, I had this on the radar for a second, but I didn't see the follow-up, to be honest. So what happens if you take the knight?
Yeah, so in the game they didn't take, but I'll show that in a bit too.
Okay.
And if you do take, then it's a checkmate in 1, 2...
I see it now. It's beautiful.
Which, you see the checkmate?
I think so. So it's rook f5 check.
Perfect.
Now the queen goes to c3, I think.
Exactly.
Then the king goes to d5, queen goes to e5, king goes to, and then it's a pawn move, right? Which ends
on this.
There. Okay, good. Yeah. So.
And that's
wow, nice.
Are you sure you haven't seen the game before? You're finding these
100%,
attacks like this?
Yeah, really not. No, I think, but I don't. Well, maybe I was just lucky, but I didn't think that was so difficult. I don't know. Well, I think. What about you at home? I think all of this seemed like
the moves were just natural
kind of. Yeah,
for the attacks.
So yeah, maybe not. Maybe I was just lucky. Could be. Oh yeah, but then of course the king goes there.
But still, it's already in a mating net. So white just played a check, and then went queen to h6. A bit of a quiet move, but with a very clear checkmate purpose there. And keep in mind that this queen is still actually under attack.
So funny, yes.
So it's so the queen was even under attack there. So that's why the game ended here. Jeffrey Shong resigned, but it would have been nice to see the final checkmate. So for example, if they take, then we could have seen a checkmate or just white winning the queen like this. That's one of the main lines that would end the game, and of course,
nice.
Resign. So it ended here. So I thought it was a really nice attack and a really nice sacrifice, which, as we saw, could have even been saved with the correct defense, but it was really difficult, and it's always difficult to be on the defending side. And really nice from the attacking side from Ray Robson.
Beautiful.
So let's see some more tactics. We'll see how many we can get today.
Beautiful. All right.
So the next one is from the women's section between Abrahamian and Yip. And this one was also a pretty important game. And it came from a crazy King's Indian. I don't know if you can tell by the structure, but it looks like just a really strange King's Indian, or not a strange one, but the one where both sides try to attack each other on different sides of the board. And here Tatev went for an interesting but wrong sacrifice. But it's only wrong if Black responds correctly, which is what we're going to do. So I'll maybe switch the board for Black. And here White went queen to h6. So of course it wasn't a blunder. It was a sacrifice with a deep idea. Well, not that deep. It's just to actually just checkmate and after rook g1. But the sacrifice itself is really courageous and interesting. But you try to find, first of all, would you take it? And if you do, then how do you continue?
That is very interesting indeed.
It's a defensive and attacking tactic at the same time.
Okay, so I am thinking so the next move, of course, would be bishop g7 and the rook would go to g1. So from this point of view, what happens if we take on c3? The king has to move to
f1.
Yeah, and then we cannot give a check, of course, because there's a queen in the path. So how about we... no, this doesn't work either. Oops. Oh, that is... okay. Okay. What about... I'm seeing, like, if I open the c file, maybe... What about knight taking on e4?
That's really interesting. It's one of the possible... It doesn't win, but it's one of the possible... Like, it's funny you mention it, because that's, like, definitely not the first move I would, like, think about. But it's one of the interesting lines that I actually still, like, analyze because I thought it was cool. So, yeah, knight e4 does get out of the checkmate. So, because of this queen c1 idea, I think that's what you wanted.
Yeah, but I wanted to go to bishop g7 first, because now I would think I would lose a bishop.
You don't lose a bishop. I think it's just an equal endgame, actually. I don't know about, like, super equal, but it's... it's somewhat of an even endgame at the end of all of this.
Yeah. They have to take the rook. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I didn't see that. True.
So it's somewhat even endgame, but you're right. You can play bishop g7 too, and probably Black is a bit better at the end of all of this, because this endgame now is for sure favorable with the two bishops and the open files. So yeah, Black would be better here. It would still be an option, but if you saw bishop g7 already, it would actually be better to do it immediately.
Yeah, so exactly. So what happens after bishop g7? As I said, the rook has to go to g1.
Yeah, that's probably the main, like, position of the that Black needs to see the defense in. And there's two defenses. There's one that was played in the game, and there's one more.
I think it's bishop g4, huh?
That's what was played in the game, bishop g4, and that blocks the path for the rook. I'm not sure if Tatev missed it or maybe miscalculated it, but it's a really nice, like, interference tactic that just puts the queen in danger. There was one more defense, which was kind of similar to what to the one you mentioned. Maybe somebody saw this one instead, and it's knight e6. So first you protect the checkmate, and we also follow through with the queen c1 idea. And of course, trading queens is good for us here. And we go into this endgame. Yep. So still, not as like dynamic as bishop g4, but Black would still be on the side that's probably winning here because of the weakness of this pawn. So I think black is just going to win this on the next move, actually, and also going to win this pawn in the near future.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
winning endgame for black probably, but it's still some work to do. So bishop g4 is the move that's the most dynamic and the one that closes off the attack immediately and keeps the extra material too. So at the end, white still tried to keep the attack going, but there were just too many pieces that could defend it, and Carissa won after this 93 move, and the game ended, and the attack didn't work.
That's
but it was
such a cool move.
93.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a sacrifice, but not really, because you just threatened checkmate. Yeah, and the knight joins really nicely on f4 later. So that was the next one. Do you want to do some more?
Of course. So I have 1.5 points, I would say. I kind of guessed it in a worse variation. What about you at home? Did you have 2 out of 2 in that tempo, or even more? Okay, so we're black, and we're
playing as black. I could have even shown earlier version of the game, but this one was something that could have happened. It was just a cool tactic that I think could have happened, but it didn't. And playing black, and it's Wesley against Mishra.
Okay, so I just have to figure out how to defend a3. So what happens if we take on a3 with the bishop?
See, you get it immediately. So bishop a3, that's good.
So queen a5, but the question is now, how does white continue after that? There must be some trick. Or is there not? Ah, there is a trick. It's knight takes b5. And then the queen goes to... What? What is wrong with me? I wanted to go to c5 with the queen. That's not possible. I have to learn the rules of chess again. Oh, what a pity. That is sad. Well, then we go to... Is that it? That's it? What can we do? Oh, well, queen e7. My goodness.
Queen e7, and actually white wins.
So clear.
But still, so this is the right idea, and bishop a3 was the good move. Except now you can just add one more move in between and then play queen a5.
Okay. It's rook e8. How nasty.
Exactly.
That is so good.
So still, it's still not winning. And it's definitely not winning for black after they just trade with the queen. So this was probably the variation that Mishra was scared to go for.
I didn't even think of that.
Because look at the 2 rooks, and you look at the queen, you look at this bishop on b7, and you think that I'll probably lose this one eventually. And I completely get it, not wanting to go for this one. But this is first of all the only defense for white against this mate, or else, if the queen moves away, then I would think that queen a5, and it's just over. And the checkmate is unavoidable. So queen e8 is forced, and we're forced to go into this endgame, which it's very hard to evaluate it. It's apparently it's equal, but it's something where black has really good chances to start this attack again, and the white rooks can maybe prove themselves later in the game. But this is around equal, and that was the best continuation for black. So essentially, if black doesn't go for this bishop a3 sacrifice, then positionally it's very difficult to play on with a bad bishop, with no attack, and with white's pieces just being coordinated. So the tactic was it was not to win, but it was just to find this sacrifice, and to win the queen at the end of here with rook e8. So I would give you half a point for this one.
Thank you, at least.
You
Can
found
I
the
ask?
first part.
I need to ask one last question quickly. So what happens if the queen goes to f2? Then the queen goes to a5. Then what about the move now, which I already calculated, but I just missed it, but now it's working exactly.
You want this one?
Knight takes b5, we take back, and then the queen goes to c5.
Okay. I mean, I still like black's position. What if we maybe play rook a8?
Or we can take on c3 with the queen. That's not good.
Yeah, we can do that too. That was also one of the first moves I looked at.
A8 is also even, yeah, you're right.
And rook a8 eventually. I don't know if rook a8 is the best. It seems a little slow, but maybe your queen c3 is actually faster.
Maybe. Okay, good. Then we get this out of the way. Okay. Would have been nice.
Yeah, that's true. So after queen a5, yeah, it's probably not really any good defense other than the one that you mentioned. So that's right. So in the actual game, he played bishop to d6, and then he was positionally worse for a very long time. And the game went on, but it was very difficult for him to defend, and he never really got a chance after. And White's attack was just a lot stronger than Black's. It often happens that when you miss like one opportunity, then it just never happens again. And I mean, it especially happens when you're playing somebody as strong as Wesley So, but that just might be part of the problem.
Of course, yeah. Indeed.
But bishop a3 was a nice tactic that could have happened, and we could have had an imbalance with the queen and the two rooks, which I always really like to see in games. So more?
Yeah. Yes, please. One last one. And
okay.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I do. I just, tactics are beautiful, and especially when there's like a live event anyway. So it's nice to be up to date with that.
So let's do this one. It was between Ashrita Eswaran and again Tatev Abrahamian. Like when I was looking for tactics, for some reason Tatev's games were the ones that were the most like interesting and the least like drawish. So that's why there's two games from her. So this one, it's black to move, and you try to find it. I think it's gonna be a bit obvious, but it's if you try to find all of the like moves in the sequence at once, you'll see.
Okay, so can we just play d3? Is my question.
Exactly. So that's the first thing that we look at. Maybe the other thing that people would have looked at is g3, because it's has similar ideas to it. It just matters which one you pick first, and d3 is the better one. So your intuition is right so far. d3. So a couple of things to consider. First of all, bishop to d3, I guess, is the one to look at.
Well, then we just move to g3 now.
Right. Now let's say rook takes.
Yeah, the problem is we cannot take back now, so we just
take. That's one of the problems in this in this line for black always, is that you can't take back the rook.
There's a beautiful mate on b7.
Yeah.
So instead how about we have so many options what to do first. I think we can give a check on h2 first. Okay.
They will play king back.
And then we can take on d3, maybe.
So that was one of the lines that I thought you might look at. It's better for black. So like clearly better for black. It's a good position. But still some chances for white after this b6 move.
Oh God.
It just looks really scary.
It does.
So it's just a bit of an unclear position, but you're right. It's one of the good lines that gives black the advantage. So a better way would be to play here, to take on f2 instead, and not to take the bishop. And the reason for that, well, of course, if they take back, then we can gladly take the rook with check. But if they don't take back.
Didn't even see that.
But if they don't take back, then we can once again go for this move. And if they ever trade into an endgame, then we actually, it's weirdly enough, we might actually win this bishop anyway, if if, for example, they take something like that, rook d2, like we might win this bishop in the endgame too.
Funny. Okay.
So this endgame is really good. That's basically the way it would end it, and it removes kind of a bit of the complications. So still, it's both lines are good, but just this one is better by the evaluation and just by how forced it is for white to go for this endgame. So one more is rook to c5.
Okay, we can still not take the rook. So annoying.
Yeah, that's the most annoying part about this.
Good,
position.
but can we now just proceed to take on e2, I guess?
Yeah, taking on e2 is winning.
There's a mate threat after that, which is nice. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, so taking there is winning.
Yeah.
There's one more line that's winning, which actually happened in the game, and it's you still want to take on e2, but you just first trade queens. So this one forces a queen trade. And after that, you just take here. And although, the material, actually, white is a pawn at the end of this, but of course, it's not a pawn that's going to make any damage. So it's winning for black because their pawn is a passer and it has no chance of being stopped with this very typical rook trade and just and tactic at the end. So this one wasn't too difficult, but there were some things to be careful about and to calculate rook c5 and bishop d3. So that was the last tactic. Of course, there's many more, and I'm sure we'll see many of them in the last few days of the tournament.
Absolutely. Well, great stuff. These were indeed some cute tactics. Thank you, Svitlana, for your smart moves. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We see each other soon again. Bye-bye.